What's up traders, welcome to the weekly forex forecast for the 19th November 2022. Okay, so we start with the dollar index and we can see that the price has dropped quite significantly, and for this week, for the past week, not much was happening, right? So we have seen on the other pairs as well something like a 40 pips range, nothing extra. It's not good for the trading, not such a volatility which we've been used to for the past week. So where is the dollar right now? We can see that it actually dropped down and it took out this previous month low. Right now we are in this order block I was talking about last week, and I was saying that this order block has to hold in order to maintain some uptrend, right? So I'm not sure right now if we will continue with the uptrend, and I even don't need to predict that we will go to the new highs, because that would be too much to the future, right? So what we can get is some consolidation in here, and we need to trade this. So we are right now in this order block which is holding, and the price is actually as well, if we bring the monthly open, you can see it comes in here. So this monthly open in here is retested, and it's as well a nice equilibrium of this order block. So in my opinion, what we could see as well after all these previous weeks low which been taken out, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and as well this week's low, you can see it was created the previous week's low and they just dipped below it, and on the higher time frame we have this PD array. So in my opinion, we could see a pullback to fill in this gap, right? And let me hide all these drawings which I like on this my template, that I can bring it and hide it. If we look here, we have this gap here and we have this gap here. So what I have find out that mostly this is the level which would be a revisited again, right? So I don't want to speculate just based on this, but we can see that this is quite significant level order block, you know, and that where we could go. Let's go to the COT data to see what is going on here, and we can see that large speculators reduced their position significantly, and here is what they reported on the Tuesday. But we still cannot see bringing any big shorts, right? So even though that the net positions are dropping, the exposure is still quite higher to the long side. So this could mean that it's a pullback, or we are changing the market propositions. What I would say, we might going to the distribution phase, right? So yeah, as said, in my opinion, this gap would work as a magnet, and it could attract the price to bring it in here, right? So if I go lower time frame to the 1 hour, I can see that here we had this previous week's low. Let me bring it, right? So here is this previous week's low which was taken out, and it as well took the previous week's low which was 13 weeks ago. So another liquidity grab, right? We are in this POC, or let's say in the equilibrium of that order block nicely, and we slowly getting some breaks of the structure, right? So this would be a liquidity zone that could be visited, right? So in my opinion, some previous days lows, so let's bring them here. You see previous days lows, so these would be a nice liquidity zones for this potential up move, right? So this is for the US dollar. All right, the next one is a euro. So we can see that the euro has reached this important level from where we had this break and a continuation down, right? So this POC of this profile was reached nicely here, and you can see how perfectly it touched it and started to drop from here, right? So as well, if we bring the previous month's high, we can see that the euro has took out 1, 2, 3 previous month highs, right? So that's a quite significant move, and I think that's a time for the pullbacks. And the price action is showing that If that would break up, and it's very possible that it can happen, we would need to see some more power to be accumulated in here for the break, right? So that's why in my opinion, this higher time frame levels will bring this down. So let's go to the lower time frame, which would be 4 hours. And as said, here we got this level, and you can see this price action as well. Let's bring the previous week's high, so we can see how the price actually moved higher above our previous week's high, right? Then we have this breakdown with this nice gap in here. There would be gap on the lower time frame. Let me then bring 30 minutes, and then the price is consolidating in here, right? It as well took this beautiful previous week high, and let's bring the previous day's highs. So previous day's highs, lows. All right, we need to go lower time frame. We have this distribution phase, which is actually going on after taking out this previous month's high and above this previous week's high. And right now, I think we are going to retest this. You see this green line, which is the previous month high as well. We have it in the gap. In my opinion, this is where we will go to retest this level, right? Let me bring the COT data, and in the COT, that's look, on the non-commercial side, we can see that it's quite very bullish, right? I mean, they have the biggest net positions since maybe 2 years, and they closing the shorts, they bringing the longs. But on the other side, we can see that the commercials are quite bearish. Look, they have minus 151k, and here is plus 112k, right? So this is of course not the only operators on the markets. There is as well the dealers and other, you know, which is not included in here. However, the long-term downtrend could continue, but it's not what we need to right now in order to make money. So what we could be looking for is a drop and a retest of this previous month high, right? So that of course next one is pound, and as we can see, the pound has reached this gap which I was talking about last week, right? So we've been expecting that as the price has break through this previous month's high, to go higher, and we will get some reaction on this gap, right? So that happened, and in my opinion, we will now go retest this previous month's high break and fill this gap, right? So let's go to the lower time frame and try to elaborate how it could happen, what we could take as a trade. So here is that previous month high in here, this green previous month high, and we can see that already we're getting some break of the structures, right? So that's perfect. Here is a break of the structure. You see the gap is filled, and still we got some liquidity in here, you know. I mean, I don't like to enter on the Monday without taking some liquidity out first, right? So that's in my opinion, this is what is in play in here. So then we need to see another break which would confirm that, right? So then if this break contains some gap and liquidity was taken out, or if it creates something like this, then going to that gap, that would be perfect short for me, right? So that's what I would be looking for. This is Aussie dollar, and the price as well actually came into the gap, right? So we can see the gap nicely visited in here. Previous week's high was taken, and now the price is dropping lower, right? So this is beautiful price action, and in my opinion, it's going to drop down into this order block, right? So let's bring the levels and let's see how interesting it is, how it's working, right? So look at this. We have the break of this previous month high, and in my opinion, right now it will be retested, right? So let's go to lower time frame, and it would be 1 hour. All right, so here it is. Look at this. We have this previous week's high in here. Price has been consolidating above for the bigger part of the week, right? It touched this this gap on the higher time frame. Then we have the break of the structure. Beautiful, right? Then we got this gap here included, right, on the same level of the previous week's high. And now the price is reacting in here, right? In my opinion, this trade is ready, and some potential short from here would be nice. However, as I'm saying, that what I would still like to see is the trade is any previous day's high being taken out, and then I would like to enter, right? Okay, this is USDCAD, and in my opinion it could go higher. However, I still think that this is a trap. Look at this, these two equal lows is in my opinion a liquidity where they would like to accumulate some positions. So look at this perfectly here. Here now, as this breaks higher, here will appear the stop losses, and these stop losses would be as a liquidity for the bigger players which would like to enter from this gap, right? So in my opinion, taking out these stop losses and adding more orders in here where they already been doing it in here after all this consolidation, this was the last moment when they added this. So I think they will be trading here again, and that's why they set this trap in here, right? So let's go lower time frame, and we can see that, right? So perfectly we have these two equal lows, we have this order block with the gap. So obviously the algo was trading in here. Now we are filling this gap in here. So in my opinion, short into this level could be nice. And if the price comes down here and start to do some nice accumulation, you know, then obviously that's what we have seen now on the Aussie start to happen. The previous day's lows been taken, you know, then I would be looking for the long. So USDCAD looks very good. If we check the COT data, that's nothing too clear, right? So we can see the longs being reduced on the Canadian dollar, and shorts actually are coming in, right? So the Canadian dollar slightly weakening, but you know, 57 to 43, 56 to 44, right? Almost same net position. So this doesn't tell too much right now. So that's for the USDCAD. I think we will see drop lower and then move higher. All right. Okay, this is USDJPY. So what is in my opinion is going on is that the price will most likely go visit down this level, right? So we have this huge order block, this consecutive candles dropping from where we have seen this up move, right? So it's in here as well. Here we have this POC. So I think the price is going down here, but I don't think that it will go down like this. What I would like to see is a price to test this gap and as well this previous month's low which was taken out. Or let's check the COT data, right? It actually doesn't say too much. We can see that non-commercials dropping their longs positions, and they slightly they had some shorts, right? But they closing them, right, as well. So minus 65 net positions, overall exposure of 75 to the short side, which is still quite high, but not that high as it was. And if you look to the commercials, we can see that 205 dropped to the 172, right? Here we can see that the net positions are dropping. So we have 77 against 65, right? Not much saying. And of course, as said already, this is not the only participant. So let's go to the price section. So we can see here, we have set this beautiful order block in here. And in my opinion, the price is going here. But right now, we want to see if this gap and if this previous month low will be retested. So let's go 1 hour 30 minutes. Let's go 30 minutes. And what we can see in here, let me bring the previous week's low because I think it was taken out. So here is a previous week's low, right? So we can see it. Here is the previous week low was retested. Actually, the liquidity was taken out. Since then, the price is somehow consolidating right now. So what I want to see is actually that would be very nice if the price makes some false break in here and then takes out some liquidity. You know, these previous days low would be working very well as this. And then, you know, if we got some beautiful breakout of the structure, which will include the gap, then I would be waiting for the pullback like this. So let me bring this fibbo in here, right? Like this, you know, and you can see optimal trade entry 50% in here, looking for the long. And let me adjust this trade like this. So this is all by my template, which is quite a cool thing, I would say, you know. Right, so this would be a nice trade in my opinion. Then if we get this and that, you know, so yeah, looking for the long in here, because in my opinion this is going to be visited. All right, so this is a gold, and as said in the last week, we can see that the gold has taken out this liquidity. Here we have accumulated, and right now we are going higher, right? So that all looks perfect. And what actually happened in here, we can see that previous month high was taken out, right? We still got this nice liquidity in here. I think we will go there. So right now the price is making a pullback, and in my opinion, we will make a pullback back down into this profile, right? To fill this gap, right? Or maybe just this gap, which would be as well something like this, right? So that's what I don't want to predict right now. But let's look to the COT data. So what we can see here, we don't see it as a very bullish right now, but look what's happening. We had been, the large speculator has been very, very bearish, right? Look their net positions. Since then, they closing their shorts. They closed from the 155 to the 100K. So 50K drop in the shorts positions. We can see that with the longs, from 207 to 227, right? So it's overall, it's a 70K change in the net, right? From 65 to 126. What we can see on the other side is that the commercials actually, you know, they're starting to hedge, right? So minus 134 against 126, right? So we will see, not saying too much, but non-commercials bullish, and the price action is, in my opinion, bullish as well, because the liquidity which was loaded below here, in my opinion, was not just for this move to take it lower again, right? Again, we got these gaps in here, you know. In my opinion, this is a shift in the market structure. So what I will be looking for is right now to retest, to drop lower into these levels, right? Let's go 1 hour, and let me bring a previous week's highs, which are here, right? And look at this, perfect. So we got this multiple previous week's high taken out. Now we had this previous week's high, price was consolidating above it. You can see dropped below it, you know, retest of the gap, the price is dropping lower, another break, you know, so break of the structure. So in my opinion, some slight pullback above this level. And as we can see, let me bring this, right? So this is the previous day's highs. So these two previous days highs could be taken out. Here we got nice bearish order block, we can see from here, because it has contained these gaps, right? So if these two previous days highs are taken out, in here, in my opinion, is nice potential short setup, right? Of course, as I said, I'm waiting the price to drop lower, but I cannot hold trade like this. I'm simply not anymore swing trader. I think this would be nice, but still, this is already great. Look at this, for R, right? I mean, if you're risking $50 in here, you will get 200 for this move, right? It's nice. So this is, in my opinion, for the play on the gold. And right now we are going to look to the Bitcoin. In my opinion, another drop is coming, and I think that could be the last capitulation, because now the news are coming that even the Grayscale, the biggest Bitcoin trust, might don't have all the Bitcoins they claiming on the balance sheet. And I think it is very good for the Bitcoin, because people are right now finally starting to realize that having a paper Bitcoin, which means that you have just some number on your screen on the exchanges that you have the Bitcoin, is actually not your Bitcoin, right? So in my opinion, once this happens and more scams will fall down, people will start to realize that having own Bitcoin on the own cold storages is the way, and finally the money will flow real into the Bitcoin. Because right now that FTX, this Sam Bankman-Fried, this scammer, he was actually claiming that he actually did not have this Bitcoin. You bought the Bitcoin, you hold it on the exchanges, they gave you the number in the application, but they did not have it, right? So I think that if all these scams are not here, and all the money which flew into the exchanges would flew really into the Bitcoin, we will already be on the over the 100k. So this will clear right now. Actually, the CBDC is already in the test in the US, and once all this happened, after this some proper drop, I think 13 14k, maybe 12, even lower can happen, but it doesn't matter. In the long term, you know, we will see some boring period, maybe to the half of the 2023, and then we will then 2024 is a halving, but I think there will be some front run of the halving, then some pullbacks, you know, and then the price can go some higher. We will see. I'm already buying some slight I'm already dollar cost averaging into the Bitcoin again, and I think it has some potential, especially because the industry will clear. And look to the COT data. We actually can see the highest positions on the Bitcoin. There never been such a big long positions. I mean, it's not that much, you know, but there never been such high long positions in the 10 years history. The CME data are actually not that long when it started. Let me go down on the 2018. So since 2018, there was not such a big longs on the Bitcoin. So right when everyone is in fear, everyone thinks that's the end of the crypto, you see the big money are buying. So in my opinion, that could be coming, right? Okay, my friends, have a great rest of the week, and I see you next week in my Discord, Telegram, and on the markets. Bye bye.